Dr. Candace here out at the garden. I wanted to give an update because I had a few people ask me what's been happening and if anything's been growing, so I did want to show you what's been happening. I'll start over here with the tomatoes. I planted these, they were smaller plants and they've been growing really nicely in the garden. I'm excited about that. There are 3 plants here and we're getting a lot of little blossoms. Also getting a little infestation there of something, some sort of bug. I'm not yet sure what that is, but I was told also that I should spray my leaves with, actually I read this, I put some Scotch bonnet pepper in a spray bottle and have been spraying the leaves now with water that has the Scotch bonnet pepper in it, and that's supposed to keep bugs away, so we'll see how that works out. It's pretty potent. What I have done here also is some zucchini squash, and I'm excited about that. It's growing nicely. Next door, I did plant some broccoli, but something may have volunteered here. I'm not sure if that's a broccoli sprout. I'm just going to let it grow because I'm kind of excited to see whatever pops up here. Then I have some okra, and that's growing really well. And then right next door also is a green pepper plant. And over here, I'm very proud, is a little woody stem, but it's got some beautiful roots, so I just planted it. It's actually an heirloom garlic that my grandfather planted, must have been about 40 years ago. He actually got them from his hometown in Louisiana. They grew in Nashville, Tennessee, where our home is, and I was just given some root by my mom, and I said, let me just plant it and see if it grows, so I'm very hopeful that it will grow. Over here, I've got some little beet sprouts. I'm excited about that because the beet leaves are edible, and I have a lot of plans to eat these beet leaves. Beets are high in anti-inflammatory properties, so this can actually be very helpful in terms of painful conditions if you're trying to eat appropriate foods to help in some way with decreasing inflammation. So not only is the beet itself high in nutrients, but the beet leaf is very high in vitamin A also, for example. It's got about 4 grams of fiber, so it's a good source of fiber. And that's a little beet sprout. Over here is a tomato that I started from seed, and that's really growing nicely. So you see that? That's a tomato from seed. And then over here are the radishes. These radishes grow really quickly. I need to thin these out, so I'm going to do that soon here. Also, the radish leaves are also edible, but I understand they're very bitter. But the radish, of course, as many of you know, is also edible. So the last thing I have here in a little homemade terrarium is carrot. And the carrot's pretty tiny. Take that off. That's my little carrot sprout. So we'll just see what happens. I found it very exciting. It's really a lot of fun. Then last but not least, I got sort of carried away, and I noticed in the kitchen that there were some sweet potatoes that had some sprouts on them, and so I had this bucket of dirt here, and I said, let me just use it and see what happens. So what I did is I planted the sweet potato into the ground and just watched it to see what would happen, and then these little shoots, which I found out are called slips, the slips started to sprout leaves. And so one of them just accidentally broke off, and I put it in the dirt, and that slip started to sprout leaves. So then I read subsequently that you are really supposed to put the sweet potato in water and break the slips off. Just carefully break them off with the sweet potato. And then you can either put the slip itself in the water, or as I did, you can put it in the dirt, and it tends to grow. So I'm hopeful that I'm going to get some sweet potatoes growing in this pot. It takes about 16 weeks for sweet potatoes to grow. So that's the news from my garden. Thank you very much. Dr. Candace signing off.